everybody. Randy Van Buren. Hopefully I'm close enough to the mic. Folks can hear me well. Great. And I'm with Motiv Software Solutions. So it's a name that's been around before and come back again. So I'm just going to give you a quick background on our company here. I did entitle my presentation around some decision criteria on how to make better choices for monetization actions. But just quickly, for those who are not familiar with Motiv, we actually were founded in 1997 and did a lot on endpoint device management. In 98, we went through some acquisitions, and then, of course, Alcatel-Lucent has acquired that by Nokia in 2016, and then spun back out last year, back to Motiv again. And so we're part of a larger set of software companies. So Motiv is under the Lumen umbrella and under Constellation. So these are communication-focused companies here, and you'll see some quick background on the slide here. So again, what's old is sort of new again, but now spun out to be our own, separate from the Nokia group, and be able to have its own investment and focus going forward. So we do have quite a few customers around the globe, whether they're North American ones that we've had for many years from the beginning, or ones that are in Europe or Asia or Africa, or Australia, etc., all around the globe that we do device management. And we do that for IoT, we do it for home devices, business devices, as well as then mobile, and now even as far as the tiny ones there, we call the eSIM device management. So quite a breadth of portfolio here. So that's just a quick background then as far as who Motiv is and where I'm presenting from my perspective, right? We do look at the endpoint quite a bit in terms of what elements are going to be brought back in for enriching the view of intelligence, right? So how can you make better decisions based on that? You'll be able to get information around vulnerability, security issues that are taking place, not just within the device, but what the device is seeing from the network. And so I just want to emphasize here just real quickly, when you're talking about the device, it's the closest part to the consumer, to whoever, if the business or enterprise consumer or residential, that's where the interface is happening, right? That's sort of the analog, right? There's all this digital that's transporting up to that point. How to convert that into the actual experience that's going on, the quality, the information that is going to be coming back then from those endpoints is quite critical. So end users would love to maybe dive into their devices, but the devices often are communicating back to large operators, and then that can be combined with other network information that's coming from the fiber transport or the other interfaces in between that might transfer along the way. For example, there could be a fixed wireless device inside that transport mechanism, or there could be even non-terrestrial networks. So this then creates decision points and criteria that you want to be able to say, hey, maybe there's a low-cost routing alternative. There's another way that in an emergency situation, you might want to make a decision to help get to customers where they are. Just one other point to make on here is with the USP, the amount of data is almost overwhelming in terms of what's coming back now. Always on the streaming information, so all that to unlock and to make use of. Just quickly, just graphically here, the idea being there could be a whole spaghetti of intermeshed information. How to make useful intertwining of that information is what I'm trying to illustrate here. The idea being that it's the useful data elements that are coming back, that you can say that I want to combine that with network transport information, with my fiber sources and my fiber plants, whether inside or outside, that you're trying to then enrich that to get a granular view of what you want to make your decision points on. So again, a lot of data from a lot of different sources. A lot goes into storage, goes into external sources, a lot of third-party information, how to combine that in a meaningful way. And so the idea then to become in a meaningful way is to provide some structure. That structure comes then through a rules engine, a data storage technique that's not just a NoSQL situation where it's just all blobs and data there, but that's actual information that you want to categorize, tag, and then combine with your customer data feedbacks, your experience information, your API from core delivery mechanisms. So all that becomes enrichment sources that you're going to pull together. Again, on the bottom we're showing all kinds of delivery methodologies, how you get to the very end point. How can that improved over time so you can make a better monetization decision, that these users that you have at the very, whether it's again the enterprise user or it's going to be a residential, that are better served through a different final last mile delivery mechanism. Rural, it could be infrastructure that's already in place, legacy cities and solutions like that. Presented here is some of those decision points that are coming into the picture, right? How do you get that overall view of the fiber delivery? And I'm just going to call out to the right here, before and after situation. I put it in the nice Latin terms for everybody to get a reminder here, a priori and ex post facto. The idea that there's a lot of time-based decision criteria that's going on to, hey, yes, we understood network as we've deployed it. So how do we compare that into the actual usage and afterwards? How do we look at that type of knowledge base that's coming from these elements all along the way, whether it's electrical power, whether it's, again, sources that are coming from SFPs that are doing end-to-end communication and latency and loss, but to enrich that then with what's actually the customer experiencing with those end devices. So this is where you try to get a little more agile with your delivery methods. The underpinning, of course, is all fiber for a lot of our backbone and backhaul infrastructure. Just personal anecdote's not on this slide, but where I live in North Carolina, when I access the internet through a fixed wireless device, it shows I'm in a different location every time I access it based on the fiber backhaul. So I might be in South Carolina, or I might be in Tennessee, or I might be at the coast, not where I physically am, but it's just interesting to start seeing that kind of presented to me as an end user because of the fiber infrastructure that's in play, right? The internal mechanisms, where on my mobile phone it's much more pinpoint accuracy. But this then kind of illustrates how you actually reach that end user or that enterprise can have variances. So again, non-terrestrial being part of that, and there may be switchover reasons or failback reasons, especially if there's outages, emergency situations. In North Carolina, we had Helene. So the whole western part of the state needed a whole another way to get access onto the network. So a lot of infrastructure decision points and criteria along the way that go along with that. And then in turn, that can just drive revenue. During Helene, a lot of folks were given things for free, perhaps, just to get for safety and public responders, right? But in the future, the idea is to say, hey, there could be alternative methods to choose your endpoint routing solutions. So add into the mix now the open API emergence, if you will, that network infrastructure is being exposed a little bit more through projects like the Camara, if you're familiar with those predefined interactive API endpoints. So how to pull that in from location, geofencing, fraud, so that core network information that combined with your CPE type information coming back together gives you a full end-to-end view, right? How you're getting their best delivery methods and how to complete the feedback loop. So yes, you've got information going to the device, you got device coming back, but then how to make improvements, how to respond, how to have interaction, how to be able to offer choices as well to your end users. Through open APIs helps make that full feedback connection. One of the ways you can also test that full feedback is through the 471 standards. So that's become a useful way to look at USP data collection and then making operational demands and commands based on that. Just a quick set of ideas here in terms of the legacy infrastructure is still there. The KPIs are still there, whether it's, again, the DSL equipment, the fiber. There's a lot of ways to use fiber coax, right? The hybrid type deployments that are out there. How to get those combined views. So each customer, for us, a customer is typically a telco operator, right? So how do they get the enriched views based on their needs and their infrastructure? Oftentimes, again, they have a lot of the infrastructure feedback, how to enrich it and optimize that. So auto detection, auto logic, auto rules that you're looking for, a lot of automation and customization that come into that. And so those definition of rules the dimensioning of that's the structure I was providing earlier on the earlier view of the slides. Then visualizing that on a dashboard, being able to do things through drag and drop, whether it's commands or even automating those rules as a further transaction. So I think you saw some of that in the testing slides on the prior panel that was up here just before us. So the more you start to understand what is going on in the network, how can you make it more efficient and then become another monetization engine for you. And this one I'll just kind of move through quickly, but it's those key KPIs, right? The ones that are giving you the variances, the abnormalities, what's the normalization. There's going to be tuning that you're going to want to do based on those KPIs. And then again, add in an automation layer that goes along with that. And so one of the most time-consuming areas is this troubleshooting aspect. Where in the delivery mechanisms are you having issues? How can you make then alternative plans? Again, another monetization decision that we continue to have trouble either with a third party or another vendor that's providing some of the delivery mechanisms. How to make decisions then that there could be a troubleshooting redirection, if you will, of the transport methodology. And so here, this is a quick view on some of our CPE diagnostics that we look at to help give then resolution paths. So how do you then target improvements? Again, speed, turnaround turns into a revenue affecting for operators. And with those rules that you're looking for, you're looking how to define, how to again provide that structure, the tagging, the filtering, and then aggregating it for that intertwining view of success, right? That you're making more efficient decisions here along the way. And then combining that with APIs, the rules that go along with the network core provided with the interrogated data store, and then you can administer this based on different roles and views. So that's another way of combining this intelligence that we're looking at. And I'll keep it brief and end there.
Great. Well, we'll have some questions on that. I already thought of a couple. And Julie's now going to move us into the wholesale networks. And yes, let's give her a hand. While Julie's coming up, thank you, Randy.